What is up, guys? Kid Kritic is back with the 8th episode of the Kid Kritic Movie Podcast, where we talk about movies and all that other fun stuff. And as always, we got a packed show today because, Obi-Wan is going to come to Disney Plus and what's going to happen there. We're going to talk about a little bit about this movie called The Hunt that's supposed to come out, but probably not anymore. The Rise of Skywalker soundtrack is an hour and a half long. Say what? And it's going to include all the themes in Star Wars history. And a new trailer came out for the new Emilia Clarke movie last Christmas. And Disney, as always, is all over the news today. And we're definitely talking about a lot of Disney stuff, especially when it comes to some of the Fox properties, because there's definitely a little rumble in the jungle when it comes to that part of Disney. So with that said, guys, let's start this podcast.
Allow me to reintroduce myself. My name is
Han Solo. I'm Captain William Falcon.
Bond. James Bond.
Up in the sky! It's a bird!
It's a plane!
It's Superman!
Hasta la vista, baby.
Say hello to my little friend!
Here's Johnny.
and here we go.
What is up, guys? Kid Kritic is back with the Kid Kritic Movie Podcast, where we talk movies and all that other fun stuff. And boy, like I'd already said before, we got a packed house today. So let's get started now. I've had an amazing weekend. I got a great weekend planned. Gonna go watch Good Boys tonight. Well, as I'm recording this, which is on a Friday. And I'm gonna go watch Good Boys tonight. And then tomorrow, I'm gonna go see Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope at the Symphony. Never done that before. I'm definitely excited to do that. So I got a great weekend planned, and I'm sure you guys do. But obviously the highlight of my weekend, and I'm sure yours, is listening and doing the Kid Kritic Movie Podcast, where we obviously talk about movies and all that other fun stuff. Now, I did pick up some Blu-rays, actually, this week. So I'll start off. I got two 4K steelbooks. Now, the first one I got was the 4K re-release of Iron Man 1, which I've seen a lot of people's top whatever Marvel Cinematic Universe lists, and Iron Man's usually, I've seen a lot of people not put in the top 10, and I gotta admit, this movie's still in my top 5. This movie is awesome. Well, actually, I forgot about Endgame. I think probably 6th or 5th, but I love this movie. It's obviously where the MCU started. It brought back Robert Downey Jr.'s career because of all of his stuff that was going around with him, and this movie's awesome. Jon Favreau did a great job with this movie. The second one, it's there. But Iron Man 1 is definitely great. I love this steelbook. It looks rusty, kind of like the Iron Man suit. It definitely has a glossy look, but I love this steelbook very much. And if you love the Iron Man movie, then pick it up. And the biggest thing that came out this week, obviously, was the Avengers Endgame. That is right, the biggest movie of all time for now. Came out on Steelbook and Blu-ray and 4K DVD, if you still do that stuff. Oh, I do. But, I got the 4K Steelbook. At first, I thought it looked really cool, and I still think it looks pretty good, I'm not gonna lie. But, there's just something that's like, I feel like something could have been better, but I definitely like this. You got Iron Man in the forefront, you got Cap, Thor, Captain Marvel, Ronan, Hawkeye, whatever you want to call him, Black Widow, and I love how Ant-Man, you just don't even see his face. That's pretty funny. And then you got Nebula, Rocket, War Machine, the Hulkbuster armor, though it's not even an Endgame. Oh, actually, no, it is. It's at the beginning of the movie. And then you also have Okoye, who's actually in the movie for like 5 seconds. And then on the back, you have the dusted people. You got Vision, who wasn't dusted, but he's going to come back anyways. Doctor Strange, Spider-Man, Black Panther, Star-Lord, Scarlet Witch, Loki, Gamora, Mantis, Falcon, Drax, Winter Soldier, Groot, obviously. So I love Endgame. It's probably somewhere in my top 3 of the year. It's definitely my favorite comic book movie of the year, and to be honest, I don't know if it'll be my number 1 because Joker looks so good. It's getting so much buzz, and I love joke. Just the trailer looks amazing. It's gonna be a Scorsese feeling, and yeah, I'm definitely excited for that. But Endgame, I love the movie. Great looking. I love the Steelbook. Iron Man, same thing. So with that said, we're not gonna get into movie news just yet because I saw something yesterday, and it's been everywhere, at least that I've seen. I don't know if, on your guys' interwebs. I mean, either we have the same interwebs, but you guys probably search up different things. But something came up last week, and I just came to the conclusion that Conor McGregor is not the best person in the whole wide world, because the video came out of him basically punching an old guy at the bar. So I'm like, I mean, there's never a good reason to punch old people, but I mean, unless you're a scroll. But let's see what's happening here. And so basically, if you guys didn't know, Conor McGregor's this old guy wouldn't have a drink with him, so he punched him in the face. It's like, okay, yes, he might have been drunk, but that still doesn't take away from what you did. I mean, what you did was absolutely horrible, and obviously you did some disgusting things before that. I don't know why this guy's still fighting, to be honest with you, and this is just horrendous. What I like to see is that old guy squaring up in the arena and just beating every single inch of Conor McGregor, because he just deserves that for all the stuff he's pulled. It's absolutely insane. But something funny that came out of this was, so Michael Rappaport, who is a comedian, he's been in some movies, some shows. He was actually in Friends, in one of the seasons of Friends. But he's really funny. And he was pretending he was Conor McGregor Sr., and he was basically trashing all over him in his accent, and it was probably the best thing ever. Search it up. I'm sure he still has it up. It's fantastic. It's hilarious. But something else that was hilarious. So obviously the Cats trailer came out, and I didn't think it was as bad as people thought it was. I mean, it wasn't amazing, but it wasn't, the Cats trailer. But somebody did a horror version of Cats. That was like the highlight of my week. Yes, I got the Endgame Steelbook, I got the Iron Man Steelbook, but this was the highlight of my week. This was absolutely hilarious. He put in scenes from A Quiet Place and Bird Box in there, and some scenes from some other movies, and he mixed it up with the Cats trailer. Best thing I've ever seen. It is amazing. Now, I don't want to spoil it because I don't want to take out the greatness out of it, so make sure to search it up. It is the best, and it just got me thinking, like, what would a Tom and Jerry live-action movie look like? Because I'm a huge Tom and Jerry fan. I've seen, like, basically every episode. I love Tom and Jerry. But if they did do a live-action of Tom and Jerry, I mean, I don't know how they'd do it. I mean, there's been talks about doing the movie. I'm sure they'll do it with an actual cat, maybe an actual mouse. But I don't know. We'll see. But it also got me wondering, I'm like, what if the reason that people don't like the trailer is because it's something new? Usually people react not so good when it comes to something new. Or because you've never seen like this type of like visual effects and stuff before. I've seen so many reactions of this trailer that just shocked. They're like, what is this? What is this? And I was one of those people, because I saw this. I didn't know the trailer came out, and I saw it before I watched The Lion King. And I was like, I know we're watching a movie about cats, but this is, it's like some Cat in the Hat, like the movie Cat, like the live action Cat in the Hat. That's what it's kind of reminded me of. So I was like, well, I mean, what if there's like another movie that did this, and maybe this wouldn't be as freaky, but who knows, maybe this movie would be like the next Godfather. We'll see. But it's something that was not good at all. It is horrible. It is absolutely horrendous. My eyes almost fell out. This Last Christmas trailer, starring Emilia Clarke, who I love. Game of Thrones, obviously, she's fantastic. I know a lot of people I'd say it was kind of split. That some people didn't like her in Solo. I enjoyed her in Solo. I think she's a terrific actress. So she has a new Christmas movie with the guy who's in Crazy Rich Asians, and make sure you cover your ears because I've actually never seen Crazy Rich Asians, but I do plan to sing it sometime in somewhere in my lifetime. But so this trailer came out, and they showed some stuff at CinemaCon that I heard wasn't so good either. And once this trailer started off, look, I love me a good Christmas movie. And the holidays, I can't believe it's already about to be fall. It's insane. But this trailer starts, and I think it already starts off pretty bad. I think it is pretty bad. And then it starts to progress, and I'm like, all right, I'm starting to dig into this even more. And then it just massive flip in the trailer that just threw me off, like tone wise. Like it starts off to get a little bit more, starts to have a little bit more heart. Then all of a sudden, it just flips into this like comedy movie that's not funny at all. It was, oh my goodness, I'd rather stare at a wall. I'd rather be like Kingpin and just stare at a wall. That's all I'd do than watch this movie. I mean, it might be a great movie. It might be the best Christmas movie of all time. But by the looks of this trailer, this movie looks horrendous. The jokes were not funny. I mean, Emilia Clarke looks fine. The other guy looks fine. But it just looks bad. It just looks like no offense to Hallmark movies, but it looks like a random Hallmark movie that's not good. But, we all love Hallmark movies. But this movie looks god-awful, and I don't plan on seeing it unless, it gets rave reviews. But something that came out today, is somewhat 2-hour breaking news, and that is, Kevin Hart, he's working on a new drama movie called Fatherhood, which I respect actors. I absolutely do this. There's just every actor's story, it's amazing. Absolutely amazing. And what I respect more is actors widening their range. And that's definitely what Kevin Hart's doing. Even when you're not successful, it's still, you gotta applaud it. And Kevin Hart right now is definitely doing more dramatic stuff, especially with the Upside. While it wasn't a total drama, it was a dramedy. I still quite enjoyed that movie, and I think he did a really good job. And he's obviously doing more of a drama movie, I take it, called Fatherhood. And now, it's not a drama movie, but he's stepping into this superhero world. That is right. But it's not the MCU. It's not the DCEU, if that's what we call it these days. Instead, he's making something original, which is cool because you don't get a lot of original superhero movies or TV shows for that matter anymore. And it's going to be called Nightwolf. So it's basically the superhero movie with Meet the Parents. So it's like a comedy superhero movie, I'm trying to think. A super comedy. That's right. It's a super comedy movie. And basically, it got pitched by the screenwriters of Detective Pikachu, which I quite enjoyed that movie. I thought that movie was pretty adorable. Pikachu is definitely the standout because, oh my god. By the way, that steelbook, Detective Pikachu, was amazing. But anyways, getting back to this, Kevin Hart business. So basically, the premise is, The Kevin Hart is supposedly supposed to play the fiance in Nightwolf, and as it seems, he's basically meeting his fiance's parents, his future I can't talk. His future in-laws is basically, and then he realizes that his fiance's dad is a hero. He's a superhero. That is incredible. But that's supposed to be like a comedy. It's supposed to be Meet the Parents, and he's probably going to play the Ben Stiller. And people were like, oh my god, The Rock should play the father-in-law. That would be fantastic. Obviously, they already have great on-screen chemistry. They know each other in real life, and they probably talk to each other on a day-to-day basis on how they work out and how many pancakes they've eaten. But it just sounds great. Again, Kevin Hart works a lot. From his comedy stuff to all of his, because he just came out with this thing called Vita Hustle, which is like these exercise pills, and then he has his movie stuff. It's incredible, and I think this could be really interesting. I think it could be a lot of fun, something we haven't seen in the comic book universe. We've seen a comedy, but not something like this, so that can be really, really cool. But something that is really, really cool, and we saw coming, is a new Obi-Wan series. That is right, we got a new Obi-Wan series coming to Disney Plus. Now, Disney's all over the news, but we'll definitely talk more about Disney later. So basically, Ewan McGregor is in talks to obviously play Obi-Wan, because he is Obi-Wan still, for now. But he's obviously going to be in the. They're probably going to announce him at D23, which I can't believe is already next week. And at first, actually, when this report went public, it first said that Ewan McGregor was confirmed as Obi-Wan, but then it said, oh, now he's in talks. Now, I love Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan. You can say whatever you want about the prequels, Attack of the Clones. probably the worst thing ever created in mankind. Then there's Phantom Menace, and I don't mind Revenge of the Sith. But however, I think he was definitely the shining points of those prequels, and I think he did a great job. Now, I just came up with a great name to call this show. What if it's Obi-Wan Kenobi, the Lone Jedi? That would be great. I think that's a great title. But somebody's like, okay, well, so what other characters that we already know in the Star Wars universe could probably be in this mix or make cameos? Somebody said Jabba the Hutt. That would be amazing. I'd love to see Jabba the Hutt return. That would be... I'd love to see that big, huge, giant worm appear. It is amazing. I love Jabba the Hutt. And then, obviously, maybe... What about Vader? I definitely think Vader's going to play into this easily. I think he will play into this Obi-Wan TV show. I don't know how. I think he'll make small cameos probably. And what I'm thinking is that maybe Vader sends in somebody to look for Obi-Wan, and Obi-Wan's kind of on the run or so. And I think that this can be a really, really cool... I mean, when was the last time we saw Tatooine? The prequels, right? Was it the prequels we saw Tatooine? Last time we saw Tatooine? Because we haven't seen it in any of the new movies. We saw Jakku, which is basically a rip-off version of Tatooine. But I'm definitely excited for Obi-Wan. Who isn't excited for Obi-Wan? We've been asking for this for years now, for a solo movie. Gosh. But for an Obi-Wan series, I'm definitely hyped. And look, Star Wars, as far as the TV shows go, we're doing pretty good. I mean, The Mandalorian, the Cassian Andor series, and Obi-Wan Kenobi. Yes! Yes! Very, very excited. And then we got Rise of Skywalker, and then the last season of Clone Wars this year, which I've seen episodes of Clone Wars, but I haven't seen the whole thing. I think it's alright, to be honest, the episodes that I've seen. But who knows, maybe I'm watching like the bad episodes. Now, Ewan McGregor's definitely going to come out on D23, and I'm sure we're going to get a lot more stuff there. So we'll definitely stay tuned for that, but something that will not be coming out anytime soon. This movie that... I think a trailer for this movie came out a couple months ago, or a month ago. And it's a movie that's been all over the news lately, and it's called The Hunt. Now, I saw the trailer, and I remember liking it, and I forgot about it until it came out in the news. So basically, they're not releasing The Hunt because of the premise that apparently it's like offending people and so on and so forth. And now the government's even getting involved, even our own president, and just it's gone. It's gone. It's not coming out. Well, maybe in the near future. But actually, Jason Blum came out and said, "I hope this movie comes out. If this idea came to me today, I would actually say yes." So maybe it does have a bright future after this, and it's hopefully lifetime. But and then even Seth Rogen came out. He's like, I know what you guys are feeling from obviously that Interview movie, which it was alright, but I mean, it sucks. It really does suck because it means that fewer and fewer movies will be made like this, and more ideas like this won't be made because of this happening. So this definitely sucks. However, if this movie were to come out, this film does already have some good publicity, so I do give it that. And by the way, this trailer is still on YouTube. I mean, yes, they took it down from, I forgot who's Universal, right? Universal's behind this, obviously, because yeah. But Universal already took it down, but yeah, it's already on other YouTube channels. So I'm like, I need to watch this again. So I watched it again. I thought the movie looks really good. You have Hilary Swank in there. I definitely think the movie looked like it would have been it just would have been a blast, but this just makes me furious. I mean, you have other big problems to deal with in the world. That's not movies. The Hunt is your biggest worry. Really, at the end of the day, I mean, you have so many other problems that I'm just not going to list right now, but really, it's not, why? Nobody even talked about this movie when it came out. I have no clue how they even found out about this film because nobody was talking about the trailer when it originally came out. But it's insane, absolutely insane, and I'm really, really bummed that we won't get to see this movie for a little while. But anyways, yeah. Anyways, moving on. So you have Good Boys coming out this weekend. And you also have 47 Meters Down coming out this weekend. Which, at first I'm like, this movie looks awful. This film looks just, ugh. And the first 47 Meters Down was horrendous. That movie was not good. And so, something that just came into my brain because I follow Sylvester Stallone and Jamie Foxx, and both of their daughters are in this movie. That's insane. And I hear they're good in the movie as well. And this movie is actually getting some pretty decent reviews. The last time I checked, at first it had like an 80% on Rotten Tomatoes. Last time I checked though, it dropped down to 64%. And I think there was like 30 reviews in. I don't know, let me check. I mean, I don't think I'm going to see this movie anytime soon. Because I got to watch some other movies like Good Boys. And I still got to see movies like Peanut Butter Falcon. Like movies like The Farewell. So I'm definitely going to see those before I see that one. It's actually rotten now. It's now at 50%. With 44 reviews and the audience rating is 66%. But I don't know if that's even a reliable thing to lean on. But that's just something that that was just like, oh, that's pretty cool. Now, some big news coming out in the Star Wars universe. I probably should have talked about this after the Obi-Wan story, but whatever. And so basically, John Williams' brother, Don Williams, John and Don Williams came out and said that this new Star Wars, The Rise of Skywalker soundtrack is supposed to be 135 minutes long. That is a lot. And I think that's like the most in any of the Star Wars films. And apparently every single theme is supposed to be in the soundtrack. Now that makes me excited. But something else that somebody brought up and it kind of flickered in my mind is that what if this is a Justice League situation where they're like, oh, the Superman theme is coming back, the Batman 89 theme or the Tim Burton Batman, the Danny Elfman score, I should say, is coming back. And you got a little bit of that and of both scores, and I was kind of disappointed because I wish we got more of that. Now, this may be the same case. However, if I hear Duel of the Fates, like if Rey and Kylo Ren are just on any planet, even if it was on Mustafar, I would just, my mind would explode. But if they fight and then Duel of the Fates comes on, I'd lose it. I'd absolutely lose it. I don't care if there's time travel. I don't care if Rey is Shmi Skywalker. I'd still lose it because I love Duel of the Fates. I mean, if any Star Wars score I love, but that would be so much fun. Now, a lot of people were like, oh, that means the runtime should be pretty long. Now, I already think the runtime is going to be way long. I think it's going to be probably the longest Star Wars movie we've ever had. And The Last Jedi is actually the longest Star Wars movie we've ever had, even though it shouldn't be that long, but that's a different story. But we've seen in the past that usually the run times, like let's say if something was the soundtrack was 118 minutes, that means the movie would be like another hour longer. So that's what we've kind of seen the certain trend with Star Wars lately. So maybe it is. It's definitely gonna be a long movie. I'm guessing, because you have a lot to cover with this movie. I'm gonna guess 2 hours and 40 minutes is my guess. 2 hours and 40 minutes for Star Wars, The Rise of Skywalker. So that's my guess. Now, something else in Star Wars news. So Galaxy's Edge opened up back in May, I believe. I'm going to Galaxy's Edge in about a month and a half or so from now. Very excited to go. However, Bob Iger, the guy who runs that Disney company, that little company, that some people have known of. And he says that the outcome of Galaxy's Edge is not where he expected in a disappointing way. I mean, obviously Fox is disappointing to him so far, and obviously some of the movies have not done so well for him, but we'll get to that in a little bit. But Galaxy's Edge has not had the turnout that he thought it would. Now, I've also heard people say who have been to Galaxy's Edge that it's not as packed as they thought it was going to be. And you know what? I think I have the solution for this. Lower your prices. Because, look, Disneyland's tickets are just sky high. They're over $100 for one ticket. So let's say a family, which generally goes to Disneyland. I think it's very rare to find one person going by themselves to Disneyland. However, if I lived down the street, I'd go to Disneyland every day by myself. I would go in my underwear, to be honest. But a family usually goes. So we'll say a family of 3. We'll say, no, you know what? Family of 3. So tickets alone, that's probably brings you up to about almost $400. That's a lot of money. And then you got parking. So let's say $430. Let's say $430. Then go inside the park. Oh, you're hungry, little Bobby? Oh, let's go get some food. That's almost another $100 because food is expensive at Disneyland. People complain about the theaters having a lot of money, having a high prices for their snack bar, but they have a good reasoning because that's where they make the money off of. And yes, while Disneyland also makes their money off of their food, but they don't rely on it as much as movie theaters do. So that's another $100 because the food there, while it is, I do enjoy a lot of especially their holiday food that they have there, but their holiday food is, not their holiday, but their food in general is just crazy expensive. So then you got that. Oh, you want to go Star Wars Land? Let's go to Galaxy's Edge. Then they go there. And then somebody else brought up this point. At Galaxy's Edge, the only 2 things you can do that's for free is ride the only ride that they have until they open this other ride. I think it's like the Resistance ride or something. And take pictures. Those are the only 2 things that you can do that's for free at Galaxy's Edge. That's what somebody on this show that I watched said. And I obviously haven't been to Galaxy's Edge, so... So everything else you have to pay for. The lightsaber, the buildable lightsaber, which I hear doesn't work after 2 days. It was already broken after 2 days, and it costs $200 to make those things. And a droid costs $200 to build a droid. It's like, really? And then plus the food there, and then the lines I've heard are long to get into the cantina. However, I hear Galaxy's Edge in general isn't as packed, but to get into that stuff, it gets sold out really quick. And I mean, just lower your prices. I'm telling you, it's gonna get to the point where I've said before, where Bob Iger is the only person going to Disneyland because he's the chief and he probably can get there for free, and he's gonna be the only person there riding Space Mountain. It's gonna get to that point. It's insane. Absolutely insane. I mean, only wealthy people are probably going to Disneyland right now because a Disneyland trip costs almost $1,000, especially if you're flying per person if you're flying in from somewhere. And then with the family, that gives you almost $5,000 if you're like a family of 4. That is insane. I mean, I'm telling you, they gotta lower their prices if they want to solve all these issues. I'm telling you, more. Either though it's bad for us going because it's gonna be more packed, but it's good for them because it's good business. I'm telling you, more people will go. More people will go if they lower down their prices, and also people are probably like, oh man, it's gonna get really packed. Maybe I'll wait till later. So that's probably another thing, but it's a shame. It's truly a shame, and I also heard they don't have they don't have any original trilogy stuff there, which kind of stinks, except for like the cantina. But that's probably another thing that they should add. And I heard a lot of the promises that they promised us 2 years ago, 3 years ago at D23 that they just didn't come because remember, before the grand opening of Galaxy's Edge, the hype was real for Galaxy's Edge. Like people were excited; it was gonna be huge. And then the opening came, and then the hype was sky high. Everybody said this is awesome, and ever since then, just not so much. It's just been crickets since then. But it's just lower your prices, Disneyland. Just lower your prices. Hopefully, you're listening to this, Bob Iger. And I also heard that they're cutting the employee hours because of this. I'm telling you, just lower your prices. Lower your prices. God. But in other news, with Disney, Toy Story 4 has made $1 billion, so yippee! Maybe you'll give some of that money to some of those employees you're cutting hours for. But so Toy Story 4 makes $1 billion. We kind of saw that coming. It adds into Toy Story 3 almost made $1 billion. And at first, it took a little while for it to get there, but it hadn't opened in some markets, so it finally crossed $1 billion. So we have that, and also we have an Aladdin 2. That is right, folks. We got an Aladdin 2 in the works. Now, we've obviously had Aladdin sequels, animated-wise, but a lot of them have been straight to DVD, like The Return of Jafar. I've never seen any of them, nor do I care to see any of them, but this is this is an obvious thing. I mean, the movie made $1 billion. And like I've said before with Aladdin, I did not think this movie was going to make $1 billion, and I thought, no way this movie is getting a sequel, because so many people were like, this looks awful. I didn't think it looked awful. I thought, like, I thought it looked like mediocre, to be honest. But, and then the movie comes out, audiences loved it, critics weren't a big fan of it, I loved it, and the movie's getting a sequel. It's made $1 billion, and, I mean, is Jafar going to return? I don't want them to, because I want something new that we haven't seen, to be honest. Now, when is this Aladdin sequel going to come out? Probably in the next 2 or 3 years. 3 years, I'm guessing. But, I mean, I'm excited for it. I enjoyed the first Aladdin very much. I thought Mina Massoud, I don't know, one of them. I'm sure I'm close enough, hopefully. If not, I'm sorry. But I thought he did a great job as Aladdin. I thought, what's her face? Oh my God, Naomi Scott did a great job as the Princess Jasmine. Obviously, the standout was Will Smith as the genie, although it took a little bit to get used to because it's Will Smith, and he has just that on-screen presence where you know that's Will Smith. But I thought he did a really good job with the genie. Was definitely the standout. So I definitely hope they bring in something new, like a new villain or something. But I am definitely hyped for this, depending on what they do. But another live-action movie that was also in the news for Disney was The Little Mermaid. So Harry Styles, who was in Dunkirk, who I think doesn't get enough props for Dunkirk. I thought he did a really good job in Dunkirk. Even though, I mean, he wasn't in the movie a whole time, but I thought for what he was there for, I thought he did a really good job. And he got offered the role of Prince Eric for The Little Mermaid. I love the original Little Mermaid, by the way. But he was offered the role, and he turned it down. Now, some people were like, oh no, does that mean the movie's gonna be bad? I don't think so. Maybe he's looking for something different, maybe some more juicy stuff, because I don't think Prince Eric is the juiciest role he can find, to be honest. But so that may be the reason, or maybe the movie does suck, and maybe when we see the movie, we'll be like, that's just something you avoided. Or it could possibly be a Will Smith Neo situation where it's like, oh dude, you messed up big time. But I think the cast, first of all, looks pretty good. Yeah, Melissa McCarthy's gonna play Ursula, and then that singer, I forget her name, who's gonna play Ariel. So I'm definitely interested. I'm still very excited for this. I mean, it's not like, oh no, Harry Styles turned down the role of Prince Eric. I mean, it's not like, let's say, Ewan McGregor turned down the role of Prince Eric, or even if that, to be honest. But I'm very excited to see this. It doesn't show any red flags to me that's like, oh my god, this movie's gonna be a bomb in a bad way. But so some other news that came out that's also revolving around Disney, but this is what happens when Disney, owns everything, and in some time in the near future they'll also own the world. So Disney executives came out, and Bob Iger was also one of them, and they fear that Taika Waititi's new film Jojo Rabbit, which the trailer just came out, I thought looked really good. It definitely looks really funny. But they're worried that this movie might be a little bit too edgy, and especially with like the stuff that just happened with The Hunt. And they don't know how to market this movie. And with all the losses that they've taken from Dark Phoenix, so a lot of the smaller movies like I just saw the movie, The Art of Racing in the Rain. That movie isn't doing so hot, and a couple other smaller films. And I think Stuber was another one. Those movies have just costing them money, and then plus I've heard a little bit of this with Galaxy's Edge as well. So they fear that this movie might be another flop, and they just don't know how to market this movie. And it's just this movie's still gonna release because it's already in the can and it's already good to go. And this has me worried because there's a lot of original content at Fox, obviously way more than there is at Disney, especially with their Fox Searchlight stuff. And if another movie comes around like this that's not about Adolf Hitler or about anything about World War II, that's like a satire. It has me worried that we won't see any risks or movies like this anymore, and we won't see as much original content, which again, like I said before in the last episode, this is my nightmare, because this proves that more and more we're probably going to see less and less original content, because to be honest, I think the main reason Disney bought Fox was for Avatar and like Planet of the Apes and Home Alone. And the more and more I thought about it, I'm like, really? That's worth half of your net worth, Disney? That's worth $80 billion or $70 billion, how much money they paid for it? Avatar and Home Alone and Apes. Now, yes, see, they paid $4 billion of Star Wars, but they made that back in one day. This they paid $70 billion for. Like, that is a lot of money. However, all the other original content that Fox is producing is just going down. Like, they're just slashing it in half because they just don't know. They're like, no, we're not taking the risk, especially with all this stuff. And a lot when it comes down to original movies, it takes risk when it comes down to original content. So, I mean, maybe later on when Fox does better, there possibly be more new original movies. Now, yes, Disney's made tons of money. I mean, the Toy Story 4 was their $5th billion film this year. Maybe they could put some more money into their original content. And this just has me absolutely worried for the future of original content when it comes down to this, because fewer and fewer studios now, especially with the purchase of Fox from Disney, are willing to take the risk to make original stuff, like a Blumhouse, like an A24, like the companies like those. And we can even say Warner Brothers. Warner Brothers definitely takes more risks than Disney does. And I love Disney, by the way. I just like to put that out there. I love the Disney studios. They've done amazing and magical things, no pun intended, but this just has me worried. It has me worried, like I've said before, that new original content would not be made like this and more risks won't be taken. But in the words of Adolf Hitler, 9,999. That was the worst, probably, impersonation of Hitler from Inglourious Basterds I've ever heard. Now, another thing that Disney is not too happy with is New Mutants. Obviously, New Mutants has been through just everything that's bad when it comes to making a movie, and they're not impressed with New Mutants. Now, it's just gone to the point where I don't think this movie is going to be released. And before I thought this movie, I'm like, you know what? I think this movie will see the light of day. I think it will see a movie theater screen. Not anymore. I mean, Disney's rejecting this. I mean, even Fox was starting to reject this movie. And it sucks that trailer that came out like a year and a half ago, that movie looked really cool. I mean, you have a horror-esque. I mean, something we've never seen before. I mean, Doctor Strange is supposed to be horror-esque, but the way New Mutants looked, I don't think so. But I'm pretty bummed because the trailer looked good, but it's just not. I do not think New Mutants is gonna see the light of day. The cast was really cool. I mean, you have the kid from Stranger Things, you got Macy Williams in there, you got Anya Taylor-Joy, who are all wonderful, and it is just with all this Fox stuff, it's definitely not what Bob Iger and the Mouse were expecting. And I also heard somebody else say that they haven't put enough money or marketing into their Fox stuff, and that might just be it. And look, at the end of the day, the general audience does not even have a clue that Disney bought Fox. I don't even think they care that Disney bought Fox. As long as they don't see that Disney logo pop up in front of the movie, they don't have a single clue that Disney bought Fox. And Bob Iger, who is a smart human being, it's way smarter than I am, probably should know that, because the general audience, except for the movie fans, have no clue that that Disney even bought Fox. I'm sure they don't even know about the bidding war between Disney and Comcast, and I'd be surprised how many people even know about Disney Plus. And I'm telling you, the general audience doesn't even know anything about this, so I don't even know why they're even worried about the general audience. And to be honest, Disney with Fox is basically like, it's like you're dating someone, and then you just this is gonna be great. You just know this is gonna be great, and then you find out they have kids, and you're just like, well, yeah. That's kind of like Disney with Fox. Like, they bought Fox. Okay, we got these Avatar sequels, we got Planet of the Apes, we got the Alien movies, and so on. It's gonna be fun. Deadpool, X-Men, Fantastic Four. Oh yeah. Oh man, we just taking some flops already. Oh my god, I don't know how long we can do this. Now, I've heard some other people say that maybe they should sell off some of Fox's properties, which I definitely think is a smart move. Maybe to Universal, maybe to Warner Brothers, maybe to some of the smaller companies, Lionsgate, Paramount, or another one that's willing to put out these movies. Because as far as we know, well, for now, Disney is not willing to put out films like this. But maybe once Fox starts to ramp it up a little bit and pull around their weight, I guess you'd say, maybe Disney and Bob Iger will take in more action into making more original content like a Jojo Rabbit, but we'll see. But the last thing we will talk about today on the Kid Kritic Movie Podcast. And so, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, which I've talked about a lot lately. So the Bruce Lee stuff, which I believe I mentioned a couple times, it's been very controversial, and I've said before that I get why people would get, I honestly get why people would get offended. I'm not, because at the end of the day, it's Tarantino, and Tarantino's, it's a Tarantino movie at the end of the day. And Bruce Lee's daughter, well, first of all, Quentin Tarantino came out and kind of defended himself, and basically said Bruce Lee was kind of an arrogant guy, and he said in a press junket. And then he also continues and says, the way he was talking, I didn't just make it all that up. I heard him say things like that to that effect. If people are saying, well, he's never said he could beat up Muhammad Ali, well, yeah, he did. Not only did he say that, but his wife Linda Lee said that in her first biography I ever read. She absolutely said that. Now, and then Bruce Lee's daughter comes out and said, and she comes out and said, you know what? She just comes in guns blazing. She said, he could just shut up about it. That would be really nice. Or he can just apologize for what he, or he can apologize, or he can say, I don't really know what Bruce Lee was like. I just wrote it for my movie, but that shouldn't be taken as how he really was. Now, I see both accounts, to be honest, because Quentin Tarantino's trying to defend his movie, which is currently out in theaters, and then Bruce Lee's daughter's like, yo, that was my dad you're talking about. And I to be honest, I applaud Bruce Lee's daughter for coming out like that, because that is a ballsy move. It takes guts to do that, especially to a guy like Quentin Tarantino just comes in. I mean, I applaud that. Now, do I agree with that? Both of them? To be honest, I don't know where I am, to be honest, in this situation. Quentin Tarantino's trying to defend his movie. Shannon Lee, who's Bruce Lee's daughter, I mean, that's her dad that he's talking about, and she just didn't like the way he was depicted, and I get where both of them are coming from. And I know it's a lazy answer, but I don't know which side I'd take. But let's see where else this goes. I don't think Tarantino. I think he's smarter than that than to respond to the comments. But it was heating up. It's heating up. It's some back and forth. But again, I get where both people are coming from, and yeah, I get both of their point of views. So that's it, folks. That is all for today's episode of the Kid Kritic Movie Podcast, where we talk about movies and all that other fun stuff. And as always, make sure to go up and subscribe to that YouTube channel by the name of Kid Kritic, where I do tons of trailer reactions, movie reviews, and by the way, look out for the movie review of Good Boys, because I'm definitely seeing that tonight, and I'm very excited to see that movie. And make sure to follow the Kid Kritic YouTube channel. Also, make sure to check out the next episode of the Kid Kritic Movie Podcast, episode 9. That is right next week, and I'm sure Disney's going to be all over the news because of D23. And I might do the same thing that I did with Comic-Con, and I'll probably wait till Saturday night to do that. And also make sure to follow at Kid Kritic 1 on the Instagrams. And with that said, guys, that is it for me here, folks, for the Kid Kritic Movie Podcast, episode 8, where we talk about movies and all that other fun stuff. It was a fun time. We talked about a lot. I mean, this is just straight up Disney. This was Disney's episode, from Galaxy's Edge to the Jojo Rabbit stuff to the New Mutants stuff to Toy Story 4 making $1 billion to Aladdin to, I mean, that's just full on Disney. It is magical up in here. So with that said, look out for the next episode of the Kid Kritic Movie Podcast, and as always, peace.